Welcome to episode 4 of the 1UP 1Breakdown podcast. I'm Kid Shadow and my co-host over here, Killer Caston.
What? When did we decide this?
So I read the YouTube comments and they said that you should have a nickname. So I made one for you.
I'm glad I had some say in this decision.
Today's podcast, we're talking about the top 3 games of 2025 and the bottom 3 games of 2025, at least per our opinion.
Yeah, some of these are not necessarily considered bad games, and even a lot of them on my list are not ones I consider bad games, but they're the ones that were the most disappointing to me. There's a lot of games I just didn't get to really try because my most played thing in 2025 was Premiere Pro. So,
subscription-based gaming.
Yeah. Damn, Adobe ruining gaming now too.
Ah, fuck them.
Yeah, I hate Adobe.
Me too.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through a list for both of us, best and I guess most disappointing.
And right off the bat, Expedition 33 was a best game for both of us. We just left it off the list so that we can mention other games. Let's just get that out of the way. It was game of the year for a reason.
Yeah, of course. Like, it was phenomenal. And would this really be that interesting if the number one for both lists was the same game that everyone saw coming?
Yeah, Expedition Sweep! Like, no, I don't. Yeah, we don't need a video on that. There's enough videos.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
All right, you can go first.
Do you want to go disappointing first, or do we want to go good?
Yeah, let's do disappointing.
So my first game, number 3 on my list for most disappointing game, was Chronos New Dawn. And I don't think that it was a bad game per se. I just really wish that I was able to get into it more than I really could. Because I think the team did a fantastic job with the Silent Hill 2 remake, but it just didn't draw me in as much as I was hoping with really honestly how cool everything looked.
I think the problem with games like that, and I'm speaking purely for myself, I loved the game. Like, it was a good game. Shout out to Team Blooper. They actually gave it to me for free. So on that behalf, thank you. But in all honesty, I think what happens with games like that, I find myself comparing everything in that genre to Dead Space.
Yeah.
And I want a Dead Space game, and that's not their fault. It's just, I'm like, fuck.
I know. It felt closer to Resident Evil to me than Dead Space because of like how the inventory management was, but it looked a lot like Dead Space, so it kind of got those kind of expectations.
My biggest downside with Chronos was the ammo situation. I hated that there was hardly any ammo. I wasn't even playing on like a crazy difficulty, and I found myself just wanting to shoot more. And I feel like Callisto Protocol had that same kind of issue where it was very melee focused or run away from enemies, you know?
My experience with Chronos was that it was a lot of, you had to particularly use the environment to get rid of the enemies. There's a lot of like explosive things around, and that's what really made the encounters, is kind of wrangling them up to hit the explosive barrel to then conserve your ammo as opposed to having enough to just hit your shots properly and get through it.
Yeah, and it sucks too, because like the charge shot concept is pretty freaking cool in that game. And if you guys haven't played Chronos, like, still give it a try. I would never tell you not to try it. It is still a solid game. I just wanted more from it too.
Yeah, and that's, like I was saying, it's not a bad game. Yeah. I just wish that I was more into it, because I love survival horror. It's my favorite genre of game. But hopefully they can build off that, because they did fantastic work before, and I hope to see more of it.
Silent Hill 2 remake was a banger.
Oh, it's so
through
good.
And through. It was perfect.
I'm playing it right now. It is, I think, the scariest horror game ever.
Yeah, the Loch Tussie boss. I don't know if you got to that yet. Or...
Not yet, no.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, the Loch. You'll understand.
Right now it doesn't make sense. So, but I had this thing that I was saying where with that game, usually to me when horror games give you a gun, it gets less scary. Mm-hmm. Not with that one. It is still just as scary and terrifying. Because even like Dead Space, when I get a gun, like, cool, like, I'm not as scared of it. To me, games like Amnesia.
Not me, bro. I don't give it. You can't give me enough guns in Dead Space, and I would fucking still find it scary. That game is, I think, the scariest shooter alive.
Did you play the second one?
Oh yeah. Fuck the like orphanage or whatever, the daycare. Ugh.
Those are some of the best survival horror games made.
And they fumbled with Dead Space 3.
Oh, absolutely.
It was so stupid that, okay, so they did it as like a multiplayer game, which is cool. Okay, I can get with that. It takes away from the horror aspect. They went so action-packed with it, where I was like, the hell is this shit?
I think Dead Space 1 and 2 are exactly what they need to be. They were some of my favorite games to play, and then 3 is just like, I don't really. It's just, I guess, for the story and the lore at that point. Like, it didn't hit anywhere near.
Didn't hit even on the lore aspect. I was like, eh.
You don't like the big moons, the big flesh moons?
No. I don't know. It was weird.
It was weird.
Yeah.
So what was your first disappointing game?
Okay. I might get hanged out to dry for this one. And please hear me out before you start going off on me.
I hear the comments now.
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Ooh.
I mean, I've been playing Monster Hunter forever. Like the first Monster Hunter thing I ever played was the PSP. And I love the series. It's a fantastic series. And Wilds is a solid game. The problem that I have is it's not better than Monster Hunter Worlds. Monster Hunter Worlds was like everything I wanted and more from Monster Hunter. They perfected a lot of things, and their shortcomings, which were very obvious, you would think that they would fix this in Wilds, one being the multiplayer aspect. Capcom, I love you. It shouldn't be that hard to get in a group with someone else to go kick a T-Rex's ass. Like, it just shouldn't. But even the gameplay itself felt a little weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It just wasn't as good. I know they've done some updates recently and whatnot, and some people are giving it more praise, but it seems to be a very common consensus where people are saying they still like Monster Hunter World way more than Wilds. I know Rise was also a great Monster Hunter. I never got a chance to play that one, but that was probably my first letdown of 2025.
I've tried Monster Hunter a couple times. I don't know what it is. To me, I just can't get into that kind of game. And it's a game I want to be into because
it's a skill issue, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It does seem like a really fun game, and I like the concept. I like the idea of planning for the thing you're hunting and everything like that, and really setting up to do a specific task and actually planning it out and executing it. It just felt like I was slapping everything with a wet noodle for 30 minutes. And
yeah, there's definitely builds, and it's a lot of grinding. Like, you can get better armor sets, better weapon sets that make these hunts easier, and it's definitely a good time. I felt like the environment in Wilds wasn't as intuitive either. So, like, in World, I felt like there was a lot more creatures just around and about. The environment, like the map was better, more interconnected, things like that. I don't know, just something about it did not hit. So I hope if they make an additional DLC or another installation, they really go back to the drawing board and say, okay, Worlds was probably the best well-rounded one. How do we add to that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have to reinvent the formula. They just need to work on their shortcomings, which was not being able to skip cutscenes. Dumbest thing ever. So if you replay the game, you can't actually skip the cutscenes. You have to sit there and watch. It was terrible.
I thought we got rid of that. I thought that was a thing that's like a foregone relic of old gaming.
Yeah. That wasn't Wilds. That was Worlds, just so that's clear. But like, even still, for when that game came out, I was like, holy crap.
God, I can't remember the last time a game made me do that. Like, you know, like the old, like if you go back to like around maybe PS2 kind of era where you'd be stuck on a hard boss and then you'd have to hear their intro cutscene every single time and then hate them even more and more because then they beat you and then you have to hear them say their stupid thing again.
Yeah, Crash and Spyro. Yeah, Jack and Daxter. Yeah, oh yeah.
I thought that was just not a thing. I thought we learned from that.
No, we definitely did not.
That's a pretty common consensus though for Monster Hunter, isn't it? I think a lot of people were disappointed with the newest one.
Yeah, and it's funny because like if you go on stream too, a lot of times what I'll see is the Monster Hunter Worlds category has more people in it than the Wilds category. So I think it's just a common agreement from the community that they just like that one more. Now they're doing some really cool collabs in Wilds and whatnot. It's not to say that it's not a terrible game whatsoever. I'd give it like a 7.5. I just, in my opinion, was hoping it was going to be like a 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was so hyped for it.
What collabs are they doing? Because it seems like it's a bigger thing in gaming than ever is to do like these overlapping collabs. And I swear to God, I've seen 2B from Nier Automata in every single thing. She's not in that game, is she?
No, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me on this. This is obviously live, so it's not like we're just like cutting stuff, researching to make ourselves look smart. Final Fantasy, if I'm not mistaken, was the last collab they just did. FF14 to be exact.
Oh, that's right. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it's like the MMO. So, which solid MMO. MMOs I'm done with.
Yeah, when you get to a certain age, it gets harder and harder when you have more real life responsibilities to do an MMO. Like when I was in my early 20s, like I was back on like WoW Classic during the pandemic was all I did.
Yeah, I mean, WoW, oh God, not even to go off on a derail, but WoW is fantastic, but oh my God, nowadays, I don't know.
Before the biggest one, I used to play a lot of RuneScape. That is by far the biggest time vampire MMO that exists.
I never got into RuneScape, thankfully. But people that love RuneScape, like, they fucking love it, dude.
It's the only game they play.
And that game has been around for ever.
For anybody who doesn't know, they at one point essentially ruined the game because of they tried to make it World of Warcraft 2. Like a different, like alternate, like Temu World of Warcraft. That didn't work. And so they brought back the 2007 version of the game. And that is now the most popular version of the game.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a game where you can literally put your entire life into it and not beat it. Like everything.
All right. So now what was one of your favorite games of 2025?
All right. So this is actually a game I've been getting into more recently. It's a game called Megabonk. Have you played it?
No. I own it, like everything on Steam. I buy it, but never touch it. And I've heard a lot about it, but I have not played it.
So Megabonk, it's like Vampire Survivors, right? Where it's that kind of game where you're not necessarily having to aim very much or interact too much, but what you're really doing is making your build and going through and trying to. It's a roguelite.
I've always called them bullet hell games. Like
it's very similar to that, yeah. To where you're just choosing your weapons, you're choosing your power-ups, and then building upon that and really cultivating your build and everything. And as you play it more, you get more options to remove certain things from like the rotation or do like more skips, add more characters and stuff. It's a really good turn your brain off, play something for an hour and a half kind of thing when you're looking for that, like, I just want a game real quick. And it's been really enjoyable. That's cool.
I mean, I'll have to try it. And I know people are kind of talking about it on the internet because there's no new updates.
I think they just added a new character.
Did they? Like, I remember seeing something where they were just like, what happened to the game? They stopped working on it or something like that. I had no idea if there was any validity to that.
To be honest, I started playing it a few weeks ago, so I don't know what's necessarily new and what's been added recently. I thought they added a new character. It seems like there's more stuff there. But, you know, it could just been that I finally unlocked it. I don't know if they added it to the game or not. Like,
you're just so fucking far behind.
I'm just old grandpa. I got the new thing.
I can't talk shit. I played Halo for the first time this year.
That's something, since we talked earlier about not having as much time to game, I've been getting way more into roguelikes or roguelites because it really is that you have like one quick game and then you're done. Like,
you just jump in, jump out.
Yeah, like I did Slay the Spire this year. That one was fun. There's some people that can play those games for hours on end.
Yep.
I can play it until like I unlock it or like I reach the point where I'm just done. Like Slay the Spire, I beat it with all 4 characters and I'm like, I'm out.
That's fair. Yeah, not me. I don't play a lot of those kind of games, not because I dislike them or anything like that. I just find myself, I have my comfort games and then I stick to those when I have like free time and I'm bored. I replay a lot of games too, so.
Gotcha. Well, what's number 3 for your best games for this year?
For me, it wasn't a brand new game. It was the Lies of P DLC Overture. That DLC fucking sucked in the best way. I like Lies of P. It's a great Souls-like. Everything about it's phenomenal. I love the aesthetic. I love the challenge, the weapons, everything. And the DLC in that game pissed me off so much. I don't think I've had a game really test my patience in quite some time. Especially that fuck-ass alligator in the beginning. That thing made me so freaking mad, I couldn't do it. I also think that the team that makes Lies of P, if I'm not mistaken, that was their first game. And to just take the game, build off of it, and make the DLC better than the original, kudos to them.
That was really their first game?
I'm pretty sure it was, if I'm not mistaken. Now, again, like I said, this is live. It's not like I'm doing my research like on the spot to make myself sound smart. So please tell me if I'm wrong.
If that is, I mean, I think they did a great job because I didn't get to the actual DLC. I was playing it for a while, but I do think that is the most fun Souls-like I've played.
Yeah, and I, unpopular opinion, think it's way harder than Sekiro. The parry window is much tighter than Sekiro. Sekiro is very forgiving. What I hope to see from that team is just an entirely new game. While Liza P, the DLC was fantastic, I'm ready for what's next.
I do think there is an art of knowing when to step away from an IP and when you can milk it too dry. I mean, if it did really well, they might be tempted to, but if that was one of their first games, I think they could even take that kind of concept and even just use what they made and just kind of create a new world, new characters and everything like that, and keep the kind of Souls-like elements that they did use.
One thing that Liza P did that I genuinely love, and most of the Souls community bitched about, which is very common. My takes on Souls stuff with the core Souls community, we're very opposites, even though I played them so many times. I think them adding the difficulty selector for Liza P was the best thing they could have done, because I'm under the notion that while yes, I love getting my balls stepped on when playing those kind of games, I don't think everybody should have to do the same thing to enjoy the game. You can make it a little easier for the common players so that they can get their, dip their toe in the water and then maybe progress to get better at these games and then kind of do that. So I thought that was a very interesting choice. I thought that was one of the better things that they've done. The DLC bosses were all fantastic too, besides the fucking alligator. The second boss with her puppet, super cool. The last boss, Arlecchino, or however you say his name. Oh man, I don't think I've ever had my blood pressure raised that bad since like pre-nerf Concert Radon. That was like that kind of level where people were like, "Hey man, just take a break. It's okay. You're like 30 and like 0-30." And I was just like, "Shut the fuck up. Shut up." And then like, yeah, no, literally like my wife like opened the door. She's like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "No!" Like, yeah, it was bad.
I thought you were going to say they were telling you to take a break because you were 30 years old. Like, dude, you're 30. You don't want your heart to stop or anything. You don't want to have a heart attack.
First and foremost, I could still fucking ball, okay? But secondly, no, I was getting my absolute ass kicked because I was underleveled. And like most games, for those of you that don't know, I W key the shit out of every game instead of like properly scaling. I really like that kind of challenge where it's like, oh man, I should be like 20 levels higher. Fuck it.
I think that happens a lot when you stream a game like that, because when you're streaming, it's like you don't want to grind. You don't want to go do side stuff necessarily because you're there to basically have a show of you playing the game.
It's entertainment. Yeah. You're trying to entertain while like still communicating, etc. But I also like sometimes when a game is too grindy, it turns me off. So that game was, everything about it was good. I liked the DLC. It was hard in the right places.
I think for when it has a lot of grinding, it has to feel like the grind is enjoyable enough, but then worth doing as well. Because I think there can be things where it's, man, you really have to grind this out. But if the reward or if even it's entertaining enough, it has no negative impact on the game.
Yep. All right, so what's number 2 on your list for worst games of 2025?
So speaking of things that are in excess when it comes to grinding or side stuff, this one might upset a few people, but my second most disappointing game was actually Ghost of Yotei.
Okay.
I thought that while yes, it is better than Ghost of Tsushima when it comes to some of the things that you have to grind out, like there's a lot less fox statues, there's a little more variation in the side stuff that you have to do for Ghost of Yotei. The reason that I played and loved Ghost of Tsushima so much was a bit downgraded in Ghost of Yotei. I thought the story was not as good. I thought that I just felt like I've seen this story play out a million times before, and I was just less connected to it.
Ghost of Yotei was interesting. I played it. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was a bad game. It looked actually better too graphically and stuff like that. The combat was good. I didn't have a problem that they got rid of stances because they added weapons. It pretty much, replaced it. Ghost of Yotei suffers from what I think a lot of RPG games suffer from today, which is the bloat quest or the bloat crafting, the bloat everything, where it's like, I didn't want to do all this stuff to have a fantastic experience. And it sucks because if you don't do all that stuff, then you don't get the upgrades, you don't get the items, and it just hinders the gameplay experience.
Yeah, it just felt like a little bit of a chore as I was getting towards the end of it, which Ghost of Tsushima did a tiny bit too. I enjoyed it and was into the game more, was kind of other part of that. And I don't, like you were saying, I actually think it was a good game. It's just what I was expecting of it was a little more than what it delivered in certain aspects.
I think Ghost of Yotei suffers from two things specifically. One, it is the follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima. That game was so fresh, so original for like what it was when it came out, that it sits on this pedestal that I don't think anything could have knocked it down. You know what I mean? So to follow up a game like that is amazing, that was as great, I don't think you could. And the problem that I felt while I was playing it was I felt like I was kind of continuing Ghost of Tsushima again with a lot of the side quests, where it was like, I already did all of this. And I don't know if they could have done anything to make it feel as different, but it was objectively a very good game in general. I wasn't a fan of the main character either. And no, not because she's a girl before anybody fucking jumps to that conclusion. I don't give a shit. I didn't like her story.
Yeah, it just wasn't particularly interesting to me. I think the side characters carried a little more of the story than she did. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. It's just, to me, Ghost of Tsushima touched on a very interesting concept where it was old school honor versus doing what you need to survive, and the difference between if you were going to die with honor or you could live with dishonor. It was a very interesting thing that I don't see in too many games, but then it goes into another just kind of, revenge story. We just see a lot of those.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to make Kill Bill the video game at times, and I was like, I could see why that's like a really easy one. I just think that unfortunately it suffers from the sequel syndrome, which was, damn, the original was so freaking good. There was no way to bounce back.
It's unfortunate. I don't think that they made a bad game. It's just, it's just hard to follow that one up.
Yeah. In fact, if they do another in the same world, I bet you the third one's even better than the second one.
I believe it.
Yeah.
All right, what do you have for your number 2 disappointing game?
Okay, this one actually had like a pretty good diehard fan base. I would know because I made a video about it and got yelled at a lot. But I'm going to stick to it. Hell Is Us.
Oh, yeah.
The game overall has a cool concept. It is that you have to write notes down manually. There is no actual, like, do this, 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 this. It does not hold your hand. It's 1000% about exploring and getting into the nitty gritty. It's one of those games that where if you took a break from playing it for 2 weeks, you might as well just restart the whole game. Unless you wrote such detailed notes. My problem with the game was I thought the combat was pretty lackluster. I thought it was kind of boring. Like, there's something odd about it. It didn't feel smooth. And then this is what I got chewed out for was I said, for a game that's based off exploring, I wish I had the actual physical mechanics to make exploring easier, which was like jumping. Crawling would have been cool, like being able to crawl into spaces, like crouching, you know what I mean? The water was toxic, so you couldn't like get in the water. So a lot of times you'd have to like run around the land to get to the other side. And I'm like, all right, fine. But I found myself like finding like mounds where I'm like, this should be easy for someone to climb up. Just jump on the fucking mound. Like, it's not that crazy. I can do it in real life, you know? And when your game is about that, I feel like your mechanics should be too.
The only thing I remember from Hell Is Us is when that Mafia game came out right after or right before, and they had it so you couldn't swim. Everyone that was defending Hell Is Us was like, see, they didn't swim in that one either.
Yeah, and I get it was their first game, and they had like a very strict budget and stuff like that. I'm not shitting on them. And in fact, I hope they continue making games. The concept's cool. It's definitely for a certain player base. The average person that goes to work and comes home after work isn't going to play a game like that. Why? Because I don't have the time after I've been taking notes at work all day long and doing all this stuff to bust out like my Dora map and then fucking right. Like, it's not going to happen. But the combat, I just did not like it, dude. I was like, it was very boring.
Yeah, that's unfortunate when the actual mechanics of the game are boring, because that's what really should be entertaining, is that gameplay loop. And if it's not there, there are some games where it doesn't have to necessarily be there to that extent, but everything else is so good for me that I will go through that, you know, like games like The Witcher and The Last of Us. I don't think the gameplay was necessarily the highlight of it. I think that it, you know, maybe could have been better, but everything else around it was so good that I still enjoyed it. But there's tons of people that they don't play games for the story. They play games to play a game. And if that core gameplay loop is not up to what they expect, they're going to get rid of it regardless of how good the story is.
Well, and that was my problem is I was sitting there being like, I bet you the story in this game is amazing. But I'm 4 or 5 hours in asking myself, when does this get fun? That's a issue I have with Death Stranding as well. The first Death Stranding.
I don't think Death Stranding ever gets fun.
Well, I was like 10, 12 hours in. I was like, holy shit, dude. I'm not having fun. Like, Hideo, brother, I'm begging you, dude. Give me something, dude. Give me a sliver, man. I'm tired of fucking working and delivering packages, bro.
You will not have fun, and you'll watch this story, which is good, but you will fucking hate doing it, and that's what you're gonna get.
And I'm like, please.
Especially with something like Hell Is Us, when it really comes down to that and not holding your hand. Gamers need their hand held a little bit. If you see like how they've really changed more recently on how things go with climbing, it's the yellow paint. It's the yellow indicator of, hey, you go here. Or like in Resident Evil games, in like the notes now, like the more current Resident Evil games, you swipe through it real quick and you look for the green words. You know, like people want to play the game. They don't necessarily want to do that for the vast majority of gamers.
And there's a part of the internet that hates that, just so that's said. They hate the yellow paint, they hate the tape and all that, which I get it in the sense of like they want the immersiveness of like feeling in the world. So I'm cool with that. I will defend that for people. People that don't like that, I'm 100% okay with it. You're in your own right to believe that. However, I think that the vast majority of people are not going to like that. And whenever somebody speaks up on those mechanics, not liking that, that small minority of people get mad.
And what's going to happen too is the people that can't figure it out are going to be more mad than the people that are mad that it's there, because they're going to stop playing the game. And the last thing they want is for people to stop playing their game because they get frustrated.
Right.
So like that group of people is going to be more mad, and it's going to be more damaging than the few amount of people that are mad that there's yellow paint there.
Yep.
And I do think like, yeah, I get not having it there. I think that's a perfectly valid point, but it's just also like people play these kinds of games for all different reasons.
Yeah, I agree. So what would be your next best game?
My next best game is not actually a new game, but it was the Oblivion remaster that was shadow dropped.
Yes, sir.
I loved it. I thought it was so good. And it's crazy going to this and getting to play it again, because when you play it when everybody's playing it, there's just kind of, you get more into it, you know, when it's a big thing going around, you see people posting content about it and having fun with the game, you get more into it. Because I've tried to play the regular Oblivion a few times, I just didn't make it as far. But when I got to play the remaster and really played it and got a lot deeper into it, I learned that I think Oblivion is a better game than Skyrim.
I agree too. I said the same thing. I thought that Oblivion had more depth to it than Skyrim. Skyrim was more polished. However, the story and like even the guilds, the Dark Brotherhood is better in Oblivion. I thought the Thieves Guild was better in Oblivion. You know, Skyrim isn't a bad game at all. That's why Todd Howard has milked the fucking game to death and back. But Oblivion being remade, and they call it a remaster, but I'm going to call it a remake. I think they're being very humble on it, because when you add voice acting and redo a bunch of shit, it's more than just a remaster.
Yeah, because usually you hear remaster, it's usually just touching up on the graphics and everything, but they actually made a few tweaks to certain gameplay elements in it as well.
Right, that's why, yeah. And I think it was fantastic. I actually stopped what I was playing. I think I was streaming another Crab's Treasure. Rip, I never went back. And then that shadow dropped, and I was like, well, you know, I gotta go to the arena and then get the Adoring Fan. But Oblivion might be one of the best RPGs hand down ever made.
I do think that there are certain things that Skyrim did better. Like I think Skyrim is a much more enjoyable time if you want to go explore. It's more of like a vast like adventure kind of feel to it. But I think when you get down to it, like the systems, like the magic system, I think is a lot better in Oblivion. I think just the skills feel like you can do a few things and actually just put a little bit of time into it to get it to where you want, as opposed to like Skyrim. I would try to play it again. I do not want to make 5 million fucking daggers. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't mind going and spamming the space bar a little bit to like get my like athletics up in one spot, but like it just feels like it doesn't feel like a little more respectful of my time in that regard.
Plus, Oblivion gates are just fucking sick, dude. It's the most metal shit out there. Like, the dragons were cool in Skyrim, don't get me wrong. I love it, but there's nothing cooler than a freaking Oblivion gate coming out, you going in, and you're in the depths of fucking hell with Daedric armor, and there's some fucking landmine that's like comes out of the ground and is about to wreck your shit. It's peak.
Yeah, just going in it the first time, you're like, oh, I have entered hell. Like, when did I start playing Doom, you know?
Right. No, that's a good one.
All right, what do you have for your second best game for 2025?
Okay, my second best game for 2025 was made by an indie team called Riot Games. I'm just joking. It was Team Cherry's Silksong. Hollow Knight Silksong was so fucking good. I loved every minute of it. It was so much fun. The difficulty was great. The colors, like everything about it was so freaking good. I didn't think I would have that much fun with a indie platformer like side scroller as I did with that. And I don't really play a lot of those games anymore. I grew up playing them, obviously, you know. But if you would have told me that would have been in my top 3 for 2025, I'd been like, dude, you're on crack. Like, there's no way. The music in the game is really good. The boss fights were challenging. I loved the secrets. There was so much replay value in it. And Team Cherry's just a fantastic team. They sold that for $20. They could have easily sold that shit for $40 and everybody would have still bought it. And in fact, they're dropping DLC next year for free.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think when we were talking about like the disappointment of Ghost of Yotei, I think Team Cherry with Silksong, that had more hype than like any game coming out. I think you'd have to go to something like a GTA or like Half-Life 3 to find a game with more hype around it that might not even exist, because that was the whole thing for so long is Silksong doesn't exist.
Let's be real. Neither of those games also exist. What are you going to tell me next? Okay, so GTA 6 not real, Half-Life 3 not real, and then Elder Scrolls 6, yeah, also not real.
Yeah, it's really starting to feel that way a little bit.
Yeah, the Matrix is real.
Were you seeing that before, how they would talk about how that Silksong doesn't exist and like everything?
And the reason it didn't exist too, sorry to cut you off, but like the dev team saying, yeah, sorry we took so long, we were just having so much fun. No AAA companies saying, sorry, we were just having a blast when we could have been making money.
But I think that that's an example of the hype being realized. Yeah. And that's such an awesome thing when that happens, because it's so easy for things to be hyped up and then just not live up to it. But to actually have all this hype, the amount of time it did, and then to feel like it was delivered on, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like I still play it even off stream, and I'm still finding stuff that I missed. And I was like, oh shit, like tools and things like that. I was like, well, that would have made this easy. And that's just kind of what makes it so much fun, is it's one of those games that you can truly sink hundreds of hours into and still probably have more shit to find. If I'm not mistaken, I thought I read somewhere, I'm going to look this up after the podcast, that they're doing an upgrade to the first one.
Really?
Based off of like number 2 stuff, like almost kind of like a little upscale. So, and that's also supposed to be free.
It's like just like a graphical update?
Yeah, like it's supposed to be smoother and things like that, which if that's true, again, free?
That's awesome.
I don't know, man. Some of these companies are charging $10 for that.
Or 20, 30, as much as you're willing to pay.
Thanks, Nintendo. No, I'm just joking. And we're canceled.
Speaking of paying too much for certain things, there's a little tangent I wanted to talk about real quick that is gaming related. It's related to a gacha game. Well, do you know about Uma Musume? The horse racing game?
Josh, I'm going to be real with you, brother. I'm 35 years old. I don't know what Uma Mace Windue is, or like
Mace Windue.
I don't know. Like, I don't play gacha games. I don't know a single gacha game besides Genshin Impact. And I don't. It's not
all right. Thing. So, Uma Musume, or Uma Musume, if you're pronouncing it at the Game Awards, which was funny. It's a thing that we missed, but it's a gacha game about horse racing where it's anime girls, and it's like it's supposed to be that actual real horses like was based off of it. But recently, ever since Uma Musume fans on like TikTok and Instagram started supporting the Denver Broncos, they have not lost a game, and they're the #1 seed right now. So now every time they win, it's like Uma Musume like Broncos shit.
Bro, what the fuck is going on in the world, man? Hatsune Miku's getting married. Uma Musume's conquering the Denver Broncos, dude. What are we doing, man? I don't get life anymore. What the fuck?
The anime stuff has made its way into the weirdest shit. Like, because I used to watch anime when I was a kid, and now it's like, with the Denver Broncos? What?
I'm cool with anime. I don't have a problem with anime. Like, I'm cool with all of it. In fact, I watched some anime, but like, there's some shit where I'm like, how did this make sense? How did this bridge? So, because it's a horse racing game, and the Broncos are based off a horse.
Yeah.
They were just like, fuck it. Run to the, what's next? Ford Mustangs are going to sell at an all-time high because they're...
Yeah, they start putting fucking gold ship in there or whatever. Like, but now there's like cosplayers that cosplays the Uma Musume characters going to the Denver Broncos games and like doing TikTok dances in front of the stadium.
I bet you the players are like, bro, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but we haven't lost a game, so shut the fuck up.
All right, so my #1 most disappointing game, you might notice a theme here. Assassin's Creed Shadows.
What? No, I'm just joking. Yeah, that's yeah. For the record, we both agreed on this. I just let him have it on his list because that's just who I am.
He's just so generous that I have to be the one to get the Assassin's Creed fan base.
I wanted to dunk on it, but I was like, fine.
We can dunk on it together.
Yeah.
So we talked about Ghost Yote having a lot of
bullshit.
Yes. That game has so much garbage in it. Like, where you really could have cut out 40% of the game and you would have had, honestly, just a better experience because you didn't need to do it.
I thought that the combat was really good and everything like that. I had no issues like whatsoever with the initial game. It was fun. And then it just got to the monotonous grind of, oh my God, you got to get this for this character and this character for that. And it was just too much. And that's just a Ubisoft issue right now. I feel like in general, Ubisoft games are, how can we just cram so much shit into our games so that people will just be stuck playing them? And if they just realize that they cut out, like you said, you could have honestly cut out 60% and then had a fucking banger of a game.
And I don't really get this whole idea that you have to have a certain level of time played for a game for it to be worth your money. Because that's always an argument I see where they want to make it so it's worth the money. Gaming, relative to the money you put into it, is not super expensive for one specific game. It's expensive to get like the consoles and like controllers and stuff on top of it. But if you're like, oh, say a game came out, it was $60, you put 60 hours into it, it's $1 an hour. I would rather play an amazing game that's 10 hours and pay $6 an hour, because even then, that's still going to be cheaper than going to like a movie.
Well, there's two argument points on that. One, Rockstar says that they should charge gaming per hour. So we'll get to that in a second. I am 100% against that. But secondly, no, longer game doesn't equal better game, more bang for buck. Because look at the Resident Evil series. Resident Evil games you can beat in hours and it's still worth the money that you spend on it because it's a fantastic game. The problem is I feel like these game companies have lost the art of making a game with purpose relative to the story of the game and less about mechanics, right? Like, I know some people really liked the home building thing in Assassin's Creed Shadow. That's not why I played Assassin's Creed.
No, I played it for, I want to have a cool stealth game to play.
Right, exactly. Just give me a stealth game that was about either being this badass parkour game or stealth. And I don't care about building a base so that I can then upgrade this. It just seemed like more fluff that they added to keep you playing the game. Honestly, what I think it is, and I'm just going to call it out. I don't care. I can get in trouble for this. I feel like the reason why Ubisoft added all that stuff in the game wasn't to try and make it a better experience. I think they wanted people to buy their Ubisoft streaming package, the one that's $15, and the longer you spent in the game, the more money they got from you on a monthly basis.
God, that's such a good point. Because, yeah, that's how they did it. They made it so that game, you paid for the subscription, then you get it. Because that's how I played it.
Yep.
It's like, if you play it within a month, then, yeah, you're actually getting the game cheaper. But if they're like, hey, if we even get a section of these people that hold on to it for 4 months, then we're actually making more money.
Right, and that's, or forget to cancel their subscription.
Exactly.
And that was my issue with it. I was like, this, none of this had to be in there. You look at the first 3 to 4 Assassin's Creed games, and they were perfect. They were so good. Everything about them was amazing. And now it's just become this slop fest. I actually haven't liked Assassin's Creed since Black Flag. Black Flag was perfect.
I love that game.
It was great. It was amazing. And then I didn't like Origins, Odyssey, or Valhalla. Valhalla shouldn't have even been Assassin's Creed. They should have just packaged that as like a Viking game, and that's that.
What's weird too is like the whole thing about Assassin's Creed Shadows, like the whole controversy was with the characters. I actually liked the characters. I didn't dislike them.
That's just the internet being the internet.
I just didn't like the game very much. It felt like I was doing all this garbage, and then I just lost interest in it.
It was just this like steady decline of here's where the game started, and then it just like it had a 1-up on the prior entry, and then it just kept going and just was like one breakdown after the other.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I had to.
All right, I'll add a drum rim shot right there.
But yeah, I hope Ubisoft can come back because they have good IPs, and they could have had Expedition 33. Biggest fumble of a lifetime. Holy fuck. But that's neither here nor there.
I really hope that game just wakes up the AAA developers, like just truly seeing how much people loved it, because it proves you don't necessarily need to do, because they do these games and so much of it is obviously they make games to make money. It's the safest way. We know that this is proven, but at a certain point you can't keep making the same game over and over again. People are going to get bored, and I feel like the cracks are starting to show a little bit on some of these games. Like the most recent Call of Duty is still going to be one of the most successful games, but it's doing subpar relative to Call of Duty standards.
Yep. All right, so my number one worst experience for a game of 2025 was Little Nightmares 3.
Ooh.
I love those kind of games. Like I actually started a lot of my streaming career off of games like that, like Inside, Limbo, Little Nightmares, and I was waiting for Little Nightmares 3 forever. Like heavily anticipating it. And I found it really weird that there was all this like hype about it coming out, and then the closer it got, it almost like radio silent. And I was like, I heard more about people being anxious for it to come than it being here. Well, Silksong, the hype was like, oh, it's never coming, and then it was coming, and then after it came out, the hype was like, it was there.
Yeah.
This game was like a blip on the radar, and it just didn't hit that mark. There's something that felt off about it. It didn't feel like a Little Nightmares game. It felt like the kind of story was also a little weird. And by the end of my experience with Little Nightmares 3, I was like, this is dragging on heavy. And the game was only like 5-6 hours. I was like, holy crap. The co-op experience for Little Nightmares 3 was such a smart idea. I think that was one of the best things that they could have added to the game, but they failed to land it. Like a game that did it so much better was Split Fiction. That game did the co-op like side scroller kind of thing, like 3D, not side scroller, but you know what I'm saying, where it's like that indie feel. They did it amazing, and it was fun the entire time. That was one of the best like co-op games of the year.
Is that the same company that made like A Way Out and the game where you're the like fighting husband and wife?
It Takes Two.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1000%.
I really like just that there's a developer out there that has that niche, because I feel like that's such a good thing just to have for gaming, just to have a good
couch co-op.
Yeah, exactly. Like fun games that you can play with one other person too. Cause like A Way Out was a great game too. It wasn't necessarily, it was their first one, or maybe
I think it was their first one. Yeah.
And they were still figuring some things out, but it seems like every game they've done has just hit. And I love that for just what it brings, because it feels like that's such a portion of gaming that's just nothing's being made for it right now besides what they do.
Yeah, they understood the assignment for sure.
All right. My number one game, obviously, Expedition 33 not included, was Silent Hill F. That might even be a little controversial to people that are Silent Hill fans, because I guess they didn't like the feel of it. I guess it was a little too different.
Cry harder.
Yeah. I loved the game. I thought it was definitely, besides Expedition 33, the game I was the most into this year. I thought, like, wanted to know, like, okay, what's all the metaphors? What all is really going on here? And I thought they did a great job. I think there's a few things they definitely could still improve upon, but I mean, it's the first time they're trying to bring back like a Silent Hill type game.
They branched out, they took it a different direction, and I personally think it paid off. It didn't feel stupid. It didn't feel like it was not connected, because at the very end, you kind of found out how it connected to Silent Hill with like the white
Mario?
Yeah, the flowers, and they turned into, It's one of those things where, unfortunately, diehard fan bases will stay critical to anything that tries to change what they're diehard about. And the combat aspect of it was good. Everything about it. People calling it a Souls-like is fucking wild to me. It's not a Souls-like just because there's a fucking dodge or a parry.
Yeah, any third-person game that has those two is now a Souls-like, apparently.
It's stupid, dude. So many people were like, it's got stamina, a save point, and a parry. It's a Souls-like. I'm like, the F stands for fucking stupid, evidently. But it was a great game.
It was. My main criticism of the game, though, is that I feel like the way that they did the story with New Game Plus was unnecessary, to where I feel like if they changed a little bit more in the New Game Plus, it would add to it, because you're supposed to play that game 4 times to get the full story. It's just not enough change for me to feel like it was worth it to play the game 4 different times to get the aspect of the story. Because the story itself was worth seeing. Like, the changes in the cutscenes were really cool, but I feel like things could have just been a little bit different when you're trying to go for these different routes, or it just felt like that was a little just not what it needed to be for how much you're supposed to play the game to get the full extent of it.
See, for me, I played it twice, and then I just went to YouTube. I was like, I'm not doing this shit 2 more times.
That's what I did. I played it once. I played it the second time where, spoiler alert, you don't take the pills, which I thought, like, that's
so smart, because my first thing, dude, I was popping pills like it was a habit. Like,
oh, dude, absolutely.
Yeah, every time I got hit, I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, RFK is going to get mad at me for taking Tylenol.
Dude, it was so funny that game came out when, like, that was the whole thing. Like, everyone's, like, talking about Tylenol.
Yeah, they're like, don't take this Tylenol in Silent Hill.
Yeah, and then, like, all the people were joking that, like, to where there's, like, no, you can't call them autistic anymore. You have to call them Tylenol Americans. Like,
I heard somebody in my chat on stream said Tylenards.
Oh my God,
like, that's fucking amazing.
Oh, that's so bad, but so funny.
Yeah, no, it's not bad at all. It's great. I don't care. Get over it.
But yeah, it really felt like it needed to have a bit more reason to replay it than that, because, like I said, the story, I really liked the elements of what was revealed after you do those other ones, but besides the not taking the pill stuff, there was too much, like, did you see the requirements to reach the other endings?
Yes, because the video that I watched broke it down. I was like, this is too much. I can't. Like,
it was too easy to miss things, because the reason I stopped playing my second playthrough is the one I was going for, I missed the one spot where you can get the item you needed to get one scene versus another. Yep. And I feel like that's a little too much to get, like, what's a important part of the story.
Yeah, they're just trying to get, it's like a punishment factor to get you go for the 5th, the 6th, the 7th playthrough. Yeah.
Besides that, I thought it was a fantastic game. I thought that to me, I mean, my Silent Hill experience is a little limited. That might be the set of games I go through later, like the older ones. But playing Silent Hill 2, it feels pretty similar to me.
It does, and that's why I didn't understand the criticism was it wasn't in Silent Hill, and then they were like, oh, it's in Japan, and you play as a high school girl. And it's like, bro, shut up. Like, she's wielding badass weapons. Like, the cutscenes are pretty brutal when you die. Like, it's about as Silent Hill as it gets. Like, yes, I understand Pyramid Head's not in it. He doesn't have to be in every single one. It's okay. You'll make it. There can be variety in games. You can breathe.
They're even talking about future Silent Hill games not being set in Maine and like branching it out even further.
They should.
I think they should too. I think that gaming is better when there's games like Silent Hill and Resident Evil coming out.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, what's your number one game for 2025?
I think this is going to shock everybody, but Black Ops 7. I'm just
No way!
No, I'm joking. Fuck that. No. For me, it was Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders has been one of the best things for 2025. I feel like I'm in 2008 again, playing Modern Warfare, being as toxic as all hell over the mic, blaming everybody else for my dog shit aim in the moment. And it's fantastic, dude. Everything about it is so good. It's honestly, I think it's what multiplayer shooters needed this year.
I think they really did too. My only thing is I really want there to be more quests. I finished all the quests, and from there I've kind of had less of a desire to keep playing it. Are you going to be doing the expedition where it wipes your character?
No, probably not. I don't think I will, but I have enjoyed the Cold Snap or Cold Front, whatever it's called, addition to Arc Raiders. Have you played that at all yet?
No, because what unfortunately happened is I completed everything needed for the expedition and I completed all the quests, and I want there to be an objective. When there's an objective to that game, I think it is one of the most fun things. You're like, okay, I need to go in here and I need to get stuff, but I also need to do this. I have this task ahead of me. That is what made it particularly like one of the most fun games I played this year. But when that's removed, like just going in and trying to find stuff, especially if you're trying to get the 5 points for the expedition, like where you get the extra skills, like I have zero interest of going in there every single time, just trying to get the most money I can and then getting out so I get one free skill point when I do the expedition.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. For me, I actually love the PvP aspect of it. There's something fun about trying to go in, and I'm not saying I hunt innocent people down. It's never like that. I try to be nice at first. I let them shoot, and then I shoot back. For the most part, I'm not saying I haven't been an asshole, but for the most part, I'm pretty passive. There's nothing better than when you're nice, someone tries to be a dick, and you absolutely wreck their shit. And then you sit there just laughing at them and be like, we could have been friends, bro.
It really is. When someone shoots first and you take them down, you're like, oh, you really fucked up here now, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah, but there's also something really special about that game. So one of the things that I enjoy is the unspoken teamwork with larger arcs. So like there's like a matriarch fight. It's really cool when you have multiple teams kind of get in and, you know, beat the shit out of it. The only other side of that caveat is when they try to beat the shit out of each other once it's down just to get the matriarch cores and whatnot. So it's kind of like this humanity simulator. Can I trust you, or am I so like absolutely scoring at everything that the second this is done, it's on site?
Someone told me that it feels like the prisoner's dilemma in a game. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think it was just a fantastic entry for gaming in general this year, because I feel like there hasn't been that kind of like chaotic game like this involving proximity chat. I haven't felt that connected to a game like that since the original like early days of PUBG. Did you play PUBG?
So I never played PUBG. I got a PC build after PUBG had already peaked. I got my PC at mid 2020.
Okay.
And at that point, Fortnite was really skyrocketing.
Yeah, and PUBG was shit by then anyway.
Yeah, so I never played PUBG. Although PUBG has an extraction shooter coming out that looks really freaking good. I don't know if you've seen anything on it. It looks like insanely good. My buddy Blake sent it to me, and I was like, holy shit, this actually looks good. But overall, Arc Raiders, I think, is literally what we needed to end the year. And I'm so glad it got multiplayer game of the year, because nothing else, in my opinion, comes as close. Elden Ring Night Rain didn't come as close. Split Fiction was fun, but it was a different kind of multiplayer. It was like you and a friend, not you and the world.
Exactly. I think that it deserved the multiplayer game of the year because that is a game that is purely made what it is because of the multiplayer. Because of the aspect of anyone could kill you, anyone could help you. Like it really, the multiplayer is what made that game. The core of its game is still fun, but the multiplayer aspect of it is what makes it as good as it is.
I think what really makes it is, and it's proven time and time again, proximity chat. I think if you give the gamer the ability to talk endless amounts of shit about someone's mom, the gaming experience has just doubled. The amount of like your mom is a hoe joke that I've made anytime I get down, I don't care.
It just is a great thing of gaming, and they've taken it away a little bit. It's been taken away because they don't want to like scare people off with like toxicity or anything like that. Like at most games now, there's no real. It's just almost a wheel of like different sayings you can do. But
yeah, well, and on top of that, like there's so many bots that moderate chat logs, and I'm not saying say like a hateful comment or anything like that, but I think what made multiplayer gaming so much fun back then is nobody took anything you were saying serious. Like they knew it was just part of the whole thing. Like it was just like, yeah, this guy doesn't actually hate me. He's just talking shit because that's what we do.
Dude, there was back in like the 360 days, there is nothing better than beating someone in a game or like killing someone in Call of Duty and then getting a message on your Xbox from them all pissed off, calling you a cheater. It kind of has that kind of
That's
energy.
what I'm saying. Like it's amazing. That's why proximity chat is so fucking awesome. Because it's in real time. I have yet to find a single game that has suffered because of proximity chat.
And that's what I was talking about, why PUBG before the original run of PUBG or the original time where it gained all the popularity was good, because there still was proximity chat, and I think they removed it. It was also super janky and was the first, battle royale. So it was like this huge phenomenon. But then you remove proximity chat, and then like I don't know.
Why would you? Yeah, taking proximity chat is stupid. If they did that because people were complaining about getting their feelings hurt or anything like that, what a stupid thing for them to do. I hate to say this, multiplayer gaming has never been about not getting your feelings hurt since when it dawned. Like online multiplayer gaming, it launched with people talking shit. People used to talk shit to each other in the arcades when they were playing like Street Fighter next to each other. How many Street Fighter tournaments I went to in college where like they were just talking massive amounts of shit. Like those hands would be better at, in fast food. Like, yeah, right. Like this, it's just the environments, the culture. It's what made gaming so much fun. It's that competitiveness.
To your point of games being made better with proximity chat, you don't have to look any further than Among Us. Like the proximity chat mod for Among Us was so good, and it evolved the game so much they included it, which I don't know why it wasn't in there in the first place, but it really does elevate that game too.
Yep. It's just, it makes, not to get off topic, but another prime example, Peak, the proximity chat in Peak was hilarious because like nothing is more satisfying than hearing your friend, when you throw dynamite at him, getting blown off the mountain and being like, really? And then it just like kind of gets more and more quiet.
There's so many awesome clips that like blew up from like Peak's proximity chat. Like honestly, all of those games that are considered friend slop have all been elevated because of the proximity chat.
Right.
There's a new one that's actually out. Have you seen Mimesis?
No.
So what Mimesis is, it's kind of like that Lethal Company kind of deal, but the enemies will take the proximity chat voice and mimic the voice.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, so you will like think it's your friend and it's something they said.
That.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. It looks like it'd be actually pretty fun. That's kind of like making the rounds right now.
I would just go away from my friends and just say the most vile shit about them.
Yeah.
So that when the mimic is going around, like, you fucking suck. Like, you smell like shit. And it's like, it's literally not me.
Yeah, say like fucked up stuff that's like,
like super secretive about them. Yeah.
like
you got,
bullshit.
you got bullied in elementary and you cried like a little bitch. And it's like running around just saying it. Like,
yeah, that'd be fucking funny, man.
That's freaking awesome. All right, so what were your top 3 best and worst games? And did you share any of our list with your experiences?
And just a reminder, Expedition 33 was just taken off of there because it was going to win.
Yeah, as said by my co-host, Killer Caston.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes, sir. You're getting it tattooed, bro, on your back.
We cannot have any more K's in there. we're dangerously close, all right?
Yeah, no. All right. We'll see you in the next episode.
Right. Bye, everybody.